This is AP News Minute. Iran launched new strikes toward Israel and Gulf countries early Wednesday. Israeli medical services say 2 people were killed east of Tel Aviv. Air defenses in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and other Arab countries intercepted Iranian missiles and drones. The Iranian attacks follow an Israeli strike that killed 2 senior Iranian security officials. One of them, Ali Arajani, was widely believed to be running the country since its supreme leader was killed. A House committee subpoenaed Attorney General Pam Bondi in the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking investigation. She was ordered to appear next month for questions about the Justice Department's handling of millions of files. And Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton won the state's Democratic U.S. Senate nomination. She'll face former state Republican Party Chair Don Tracy in November.
For some, it doesn't make sense. Pennies in the U.S. are slowly going away. The U.S. Mint stopped making the penny in November, and as they disappear from circulation, they're becoming increasingly harder to find.
Do you carry any pennies?
No.
No?
No, never. I don't think I've had cash in like 3 years.
And with the phase-out, retailers are starting to feel the pinch. Many saying they now have fewer pennies to hand back as change.
It's annoying, and you pay a little more, it just keeps showing up. You got to dig or you're leaving. I'm fine without the pennies. Round it up.
And without pennies, some stores say they are resorting to rounding up or down to the nearest nickel. But when it rounds in the customer's favor, retailers say those nickels can quickly add up and cost their bottom lines a pretty penny.
There's a lot of confusion for customers and restaurants alike on how to pay change. Can you round up? Can you round down?
The National Retail Federation says right now it is especially confusing. And with no federal standard in place, some states are creating their own legislative policies.
We're hoping the problem gets better over time. There's several efforts at the federal and state levels that will help make this transition a little more seamless.
One such effort to establish federal standards for rounding change would apply to all 50 states. It's called the Common Sense Bill and is expected to be reintroduced in Congress later this year. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Mr. President, did Democrats hear themselves? Are they going to start boycotting libraries and airplanes and hotels and for requiring a photo ID?
Unfortunately, this SAVE Act cuts back on a whole lot of Americans that will be disenfranchised simply because, oh my gosh, they did the radical thing of changing their name when they got married. Or, oh my gosh, they were willing to join our military. Or, oh my gosh, they're aged and they think, they don't want to spend $150 to get a passport.
It's the baseline of the civil rights, that time period in the Voting Rights Act, that our elections would be protected only for citizens. But this is a trust bill in that way, and there is no verify. What we as Republicans have brought out of the House and brought to the floor of the Senate is not a trust bill, it's a trust and verify bill.
The SAVE Act does not allow Americans to use their driver's licenses or common IDs to register to vote. The SAVE Act would require a passport in order to vote, something that half of Americans don't have. Not to mention the $165 it costs and a 4 to 6 week wait time to get one.
One of the greatest obstacles in being unhoused can be not knowing about the community resources that are available. Now, there's an app for that. One local man, John Wanamaker, created Street Coach, an AI app that uses ChatGPT to get people the help they need. It answers several basic questions to get an idea of what someone experiencing homelessness needs before offering a step-by-step guide for obtaining shelter, food, a shower, or legal documents. Wanamaker explains how it helps.
It'll ask you, do you feel safe for tonight? You can put in the answer. If you don't, it'll help you find the resources to become safe. If you don't have food, it'll help you find food. If you don't have shelter, it'll help you find shelter for the night. Even if you refuse to go to a shelter, it'll tell you strategically what do you do to live out in the open and be safe.
Wow, if you or someone you know might need the resources, you can find the app on tinyurl.com/streetcoach.
If this continues, it's not hyperbole to suggest that we may have to quite literally shut down airports.
TSA's acting deputy administrator Adam Stahl told Fox News that with the government agency fully stretched, some smaller U.S. airports may be forced to shut down as the partial government shutdown drags on.
TSA employees went through this just back in October, 43 days, the longest shutdown in the history of the country. And again, we're now, 30 days into this one.
Ricky Smith, the general manager of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, encouraged travelers to show up 3 hours ahead of their scheduled flight.
We're experiencing about 36% call out for TSA employees here.
He says the airport is doing what it can to help.
We're giving them food vouchers. We have our concessionaire partners that are also providing meals to them. We're providing free parking.
But a TSA officer in Colorado described the situation as complete chaos.
A lot of them are not calling out because they're wanting to call out. A lot of them are calling out because they can't afford the gas to come to work. On the flip side of that, I have some officers that are spending the night in the airport so that they don't spend any money going home.
She urged lawmakers to do their job so they can do theirs. And Democratic Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman agrees.
As far as I know, I'm the only Democrat that says we got to reopen this, and it should have never happened.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Joe Kent, a top counterterrorism official for the Trump administration, resigned Tuesday over US President Donald Trump's war in Iran. Here's what to know about Joe Kent. A 45-year-old Special Forces combat veteran with a record of 11 combat tours, mostly in Iraq, Kent became an opponent of US interventionism after his wife was killed in Syria in 2019 in a suicide bombing while serving as a Navy cryptologist. Before his appointment, he ran for Congress twice as a staunch supporter of Trump, but lost to the Democratic nominee both times. He's previously had ties to anti-Semitism and right-wing extremism and defended the January 6th Capitol riots. He was nominated to his role as director of the US National Counterterrorism Center in February 2025, effusively backed by Donald Trump. In his resignation, Kent said that Iran posed no imminent threat to the US in a statement at odds with Trump's insistence that Iran was poised to attack the US.
But I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security. It's a good thing that he's out because he said that Iran was not a threat. Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was.
Kent also asserted that the US started this war with Iran due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby.
Muslims around the world are bidding farewell to the Islamic holy month of Ramadan and will soon start celebrating the holiday of Eid al-Fitr. Eid al-Fitr means the feast or festival of breaking the fast. It's an Islamic holiday that marks the end of Ramadan when devout Muslims fast daily from dawn to sunset. Eid is typically greeted with joy and excitement. It's marked with congregational prayers and festivities that usually include family visits, gatherings, outings, and new clothes. But this year, Eid is approaching amid the Iran war, which has been roiling many countries in the Middle East and leading to far-reaching consequences beyond. Islam follows a lunar calendar, and so Ramadan and Eid cycle through the seasons. The date for the first day of Eid may vary among countries and Muslim communities. In Indonesia, many people embark on an exodus to their hometowns to celebrate the holiday with loved ones in a homecoming tradition. In Malaysia, the first day usually begins with a morning prayer in the mosque, seeking forgiveness from family and friends, and visiting loved ones' graves. Here in Egypt, families partake in Eid prayers amid a festive atmosphere. Many visit relatives, friends, or neighbors. Some travel to vacation spots. Children, usually wearing new Eid outfits, receive traditional cash gifts known as Eidiyah. In the United States, where Muslims make up an ethnically and racially diverse minority, many come together for Eid prayers. Some also gather for festivals featuring fun activities for children and families. To greet someone celebrating Eid, you can say Eid Mubarak or Blessed Eid, or you can say Happy Eid.
The auto market is an expensive one right now, and many consumers are feeling the pinch. According to research by LendingTree, 2% of car loan borrowers are in default. As expenses for vehicles continue to go up, what can you do?
It's a significant thing because if you have 2% of people who are 90 days late plus, it means that you probably have a significant number of people more than that who might be 30, 60 days late.
Matt Schultz, consumer finance analyst for LendingTree, says depending on how long you've had your car and the rate you financed it at, you could look into potentially refinancing the car to see if you could save a little bit of money from your monthly payment. But
even though budgets are tight and even though you'd probably rather spend your money elsewhere, spending the money to maintain your car well is a really smart move, and they can pay off in the long run.
That's why we took a visit to Backshop Auto to find out some of the best methods to maintain your car so you're not forking out thousands of dollars more than you need to in the future.
I can tell you that by rotating your tires every 10,000 miles, you're not replacing tires as often, and you'll catch the brakes before they're worn out, and it costs you 3 times more.
Co-owner of Backshop, Greg Carlson, says it's taking care of the little things now that will prevent big, costly problems later. And the answer to some of your long-term maintenance questions is right under your nose.
There's an owner's manual in the back in that glove box that most people still have that really give you the mileage breakdowns, but I can tell you cost efficiency wise, basic rules, transmissions should be getting done every 30,000 miles. Your coolant should be only done about every 5 years, 100,000 miles, so that's not a big maintenance thing. And most of it is right in that manual.
And while there are some things you can get done for cheap, there's some things you shouldn't skimp on. And spending a little more money now means you're not damaging your car for would-be repairs.
Back in the good old days, oil was oil. Today, if it's calling for synthetic oil, you are damaging your motor by putting non-synthetic oils. So you can't really get cheaper there.
And last but not least, one thing to remember before you even drive that car, new or used off the lot, taking the time to compare rates from multiple lenders well before you set foot in the dealership is important. Robin O'Guinier, Fox 13 News, Utah.
D4 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush. Fast-paced news updates, featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True Crime Warrior Style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
Did you know that you can get weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus? Here's how. Go to Fox 54 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Samsung. Once you're on the main screen, push the down arrow and click on the Fox 54 Plus Weather Impact 24/7 block. Here, you'll find radar, current temperatures and conditions, traffic cams, forecasts, and more, all available on demand. Want to get back to the main channel? Just push the down arrow and click on the 24/7 stream button. It's your weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus. Start streaming today.